The Pacific island nation of Nauru announced on January 15th that it is severing its ties with Taiwan authorities and resuming diplomatic relations with Beijing, aligning itself with the One China principle. This strategic move, coming on the heels of Taiwan's recent elections earlier this month, has sparked discussions on the factors influencing Nauru's decision and its broader implications for the geopolitical landscape in the Pacific region. To delve further into this subject, we are joined by Professor Richard Herr, the former director of the Center for International and Regional Affairs at the University of Fiji and currently a professor of international law at the University of Tasmania. Welcome to CGTN, Professor Herr.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
What are your views on Nauru's recent decision to shift its diplomatic allegiance from Taiwan to China?
Well, I think in terms of my reaction, I was surprised by the suddenness of the decision. I mean, after all, there had been discussions apparently going on for some time about Nauru switching to recognize Beijing across the Pacific. The One China policy has tended to be a rather pragmatic approach.
What do you make of the timing of this decision, coming as it comes immediately after the recent elections in Taiwan?
Well, it's clear that the timing is part of the reason why this is a cas célèbre. This is what's made it a concern to the region, not just in Australia or New Zealand or Washington or the traditional Western allies of the region. In Nauru's case, if the negotiations had carried on and been finished up with recognition of Beijing 4 or 5 months further down the track away from the Taiwanese election, it would have caused a stir, but not nearly the kind of stir it has occurred as a consequence of the close proximity of that cross-strait rivalry.
In your view, how does this latest decision that Nauru has taken contribute to the reinforcement of One China principle in general, and what implications might it have for the other 3 Pacific island nations, Palau, Tuvalu, and the Marshall Islands, that continue to maintain diplomatic ties with Taiwan and are among the only 12 such states across the world?
Even the states that recognize Taiwan have historically got on reasonably well with China at the UN and elsewhere. They've just simply not been willing to take sides on the principle. They have looked at the pragmatic benefits of being aligned with one or the other. And for the smallest states, the pragmatic benefits have been sufficient.
In the geopolitical context, many analysts actually talk about cooperation versus confrontation. But in the context of Pacific Islands, it's quite difficult whom to cooperate with and whom to confront.
Well, the islands don't want to confront anybody, first of all. I mean, they haven't happily taken sides, but they are wary. So whether the islands get caught up, they're caught up in it, they can't. But the major contestants in that rivalry can do something to make sure the islands aren't pulled apart by their rivalry.